Welcome to Shorr Solutions, the podcast. I'm your host, Jay Shorr. I'm the CEO and founder of Shorr Solutions, a national and award-winning consulting firm assisting aesthetic and surgical practices with their operational, administrative, and financial success. I have an amazing team of practice management experts and clients across the U.S., and as an industry expert with firsthand experience owning a multi-million-dollar cosmetic dermatology and plastic surgery practice, listen in as I lend you my expertise and best tips to successfully manage and grow your aesthetic practice. I will also be bringing in guests along the way, so get ready to be equipped to operate your aesthetic practice strategically and profitably. Welcome to Shorr Solutions, the podcast. Well, hello and welcome to another episode of Shorr Solutions, the podcast. And I'm your host, Jay Shorr. Today, we're going to be speaking on the top tips to improve your team's task completion. When do we do it? When is it due? And who's responsible for it? And I am so happy to have a special guest with me, our own Denise, quote unquote, Denise Lee, who is our Director of Operations. And Denise is in charge of all tasks completions, both internally and externally, whether it's for our internal clients, meaning our partners, our staff, or our external clients. And we try to have and make sure that we're able to get tasks completed in a timely manner, because what happens when we don't? I'll talk about A and B priorities in a little bit, but you have to learn how to improve your tasks and the completion of these tasks. We have no financial or formal disclosures to acknowledge. So, Denise, let's say hello to everybody listening.
Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm the Director of Operations here at Shorr Solutions, and I'm very excited to talk about this episode to help our clients and our audience.
That's great. Before I get started, Denny, I have a real quick question for you. And why is task completion a common challenge in aesthetic practices, or all practices for that matter?
Well, that's a good question. There could be a variety of reasons why task completion can be difficult in a practice. One of them could be at the very beginning when you're opening up your practice and it's just you. You don't have staff with you. So you could be trying to do everything in one role and you might need to hire more staff. Maybe you're in the process of doing that, but at the beginning, you're definitely going to feel that. You're going to feel that a lot, that it's going to be hard to manage getting everything done. Another reason could be that you're not necessarily setting up your team for success. And that could be by not giving them the vision for their role, their goals, their proper job descriptions that they need, what's expected of them. So that can also provide a challenge in things getting done. It could also be a lack of organization and systems in place. Sometimes if you don't have, again, like those processes, those protocols, who needs to do what, by when, how they need to do it, that can really hinder the task completion in your practice. And also if you're not leveraging tools in your practice. For example, there's a lot of tools nowadays that can help to automate things like patient reminders. If there's anything like that can go out to a patient automatically to obtain a review. We recently helped one of our clients look into AI technology that can help them scribe during their appointments with their patients. So if you're not leveraging tools as well, that can also hinder things getting done because technology can really help take things off your hands too.
Denny, I'm exhausted already. I haven't even done the first task and I'm exhausted. All right. You mentioned about staff. You know, in many other our webinars and our podcasts, we speak about staff, our number one resource. And, you know, who is supposed to do this? You mentioned about hiring staff, and that is what I call the UG word. You know, hiring more staff, I can't afford it. And then I always say, but you can't afford not to do something like that. Let's expand on that. Who is responsible? When you mentioned the word staff, but in our businesses, we have a director of first impressions, we have medical assistants, we have estheticians, we have patient care coordinators, we have marketing people, we have providers, whether they're nurse practitioners or physician assistant, physician associates, and naturally, we have the doctor. So who is responsible for completing this?
There's going to be multiple roles in your practice. You want to make sure everything is being delegated correctly. You're letting each team member know what they need to do. For example, your patient care coordinator may be the team member that's in charge of calling patients back, helping with any upcoming appointments, checking in, making sure that they're confirming the appointments, if they need to return any phone calls, who's helping update the lead tracking spreadsheet, who's the team member that's going to be posting to social media, who's going to be ordering supplies and inventory, for example, like your medical assistant, who's going to be sterilizing equipment and your instruments. These are all important things that, as a practice, you need to make sure that you are delegating them and each team member knows their role. So you're assigning tasks correctly.
That's great. So how do you know when your team is struggling? You have so much to do. You've just exhausted me again, talking about all the things that all the positions and all the staff members have to do. So how do I know that my team is struggling?
Okay, well, there's going to be indicators that tell you that your team is struggling, and you want to look out for those. One of them is missing deadlines, and they have a backlog of tasks, and there's a lot of incomplete tasks. That could be a sign that your team is struggling. You want to always hope for the best, and you have a team that you've hired, and everyone is on board. Everyone wants to do a great job. But if they're struggling to complete things, that might be signaling to you that something is going on, and then you need to sit down and ask them what's happening, and maybe you get a lot of feedback about the workflow and how things are going, and you can improve things in the practice so that things can actually get done. There may also be patient complaints and dissatisfaction. So if you're getting negative feedback again from patients and the service, that can also let you know something's not going as smoothly in the practice. You want to take a look at your workflow and see what can be improved there. If there's complaints or dissatisfaction from patients, there can also be inefficient use of resources as well. So if you have implemented technology in the practice, but you see that your staff isn't utilizing it well, that can also show you that they're struggling. Maybe they need more training. So you want to make sure that there is coordination amongst your team, that each team member is able to know how to use the technology that they're given, that they are not missing those deadlines, that everything is communicated to them, what they need to do, when, and how. And if there are any hiccups or any things that are not being done, that can signal to you that your team is struggling.
Okay, so you mentioned a very important word that we speak about all the time, training. Awesome. Who's supposed to divide and who's supposed to conquer and who's supposed to provide that training?
Yeah. So a lot of the times you can also have vendors to assist you to provide any trainings for any of the specific equipment and devices and technology that you offer at your practice. You can also have any experienced team members that already know how the process and protocol works to be able to train new staff or be able to train staff again. And if there's anything that needs to be done with like HIPAA compliance, for example, running through all the regulations and being compliant in that area, you want to make sure that there's a point person on the team as well, like a practice manager that can train the staff on those items. You want to utilize people and outside vendors and consultants like us too to be able to train your staff and help them if they need phone skills training, if they need training with lead conversion, or even if they need assistance with social media posting and things like that.
That's great. So let's talk about project management and customer relationship management for a second. And look, I want to make a disclosure. We have no financial disclosure with Monday.com. Monday.com is a tool, one of many tools that we use. And Denny, is certified in Monday.com. And let's talk about that. Denny, how can project management tools like Monday.com help to improve task completion? Because there's so many things to do. And even in our team, we use Monday.com for all of our clients internally and externally. It's a great time tracking software. It's a great project management software. And naturally, it's great because you control it for our entire team. You set it up, whether it's lead management, whether it's project management. So let's speak about how project management tool like Monday.com, can help to improve task completion.
Yes, I'm so happy we're talking about project management tools because this can really help with getting things done and get rid of like the sticky notes, your pen and paper, relying solely on memory to remember to get things done. It's going to almost help you build a second brain.
They're my favorite, Denny. I buy cases of these things. By the way, I have them in all different colors because that tells me the different task. Not a good idea, huh? You said to get rid of these?
Yeah,
All right,
ideally to
all
run your
right, forget
practice.
about it. There it goes. Bye.
Yes. Hey, it could be helpful for a quick little thing that you want to remember at the end of the day, but to keep things consistently operating and you want to have these weekly tasks and then you have these milestones for a project, having a project management system is going to be very helpful. And again, it's almost like you're building a second brain. You don't have to have everything up here. You have everything out in front of you, the tasks, the deadlines, their statuses, and who's going to be doing what. And it's really just going to help prevent things from falling through the cracks. And there are a lot of project management tools. As Jay mentioned, Monday.com is one of our favorites. We use it internally. I am certified in that program and platform, but there are other ones like Asana, or there's Trello, or there's Jira. There are other tools that you can utilize as well. But it's just going to help you again with task assignment and tracking if things are being done and by when and by which team member. And that's going to help to enhance accountability on your staff as well so that you can be able to let your team know, okay, we're going to be implementing this system. We're going to be logging all the tasks that are here. I would like for you to update them when you're done. And you can also review things. It's going to be helpful for you to also even implement any workflow automations as well. So you can integrate certain platforms, you can automate things, you can connect your Google Calendar, and there's a lot of different workflows that you can implement for your practice. But it's going to be, especially when it comes to your marketing roles, it's going to be very helpful making sure that social media posts are created and edited by when they need to be published, your email marketing. We've also seen some of our clients use it for some of their medical assistant positions and their PCC roles as well when it comes to like the lead tracking spreadsheets or their CRM system and the tasks they need to do pertaining to that, as well as I mentioned earlier, like if you need to perform a spore test or you need to sterilize instruments in your plastic surgery practice, you can make sure that your team member has that to-do list and is checking those things off. Because when we're talking with our clients, there's a lot of tasks like that are falling through the cracks and that are not being done. So it's going to be helpful for your team. So use a tool like this.
I'm glad that you mentioned lead management here because that is going to be episode 111. Stay tuned for that. I'm also glad that you mentioned about a second brain because the one brain I do have burned all the hair off of my head. So a second brain would be good. Maybe he'll come back. Right.
You needed that second brain, Jay.
There you go.
Early on.
So tip number 2, Denny, what would you say you do here? All right. How important is it to define the roles and responsibilities within your team? I mean, you manage a team, you're a director of operations, you manage all of us, up and you manage down and sharing with us all of our roles and responsibilities. So, how important is it to define roles and responsibilities within your team?
Oh, it's extremely important. It's almost like a symphony. Everything needs to sound well together and everything needs to be like a well-oiled machine in your practice. And defining those roles and responsibilities in your team is going to be crucial. You want to effectively delegate. You want to make sure tasks are assigned according to your team's strengths and obviously their credentials and that role. But it's going to help to just create operational efficiency. And there's just so many moving pieces in a practice. And when everyone knows what they're doing and everything is assigned to each person according to their strengths, their roles and credentials, everything is just going to work very well. And it's also going to improve your patient care. That's the bottom line. That's why you show up. That's why you're running your business. Of course, you want to make money. You want to have fun. But you're also serving your patients. And when you have this in place with your team, you're going to ensure that it's going to be the greatest experience that you can give your patients. And that's what you want to do. And the service as well.
I'm going to use that line in future podcasts. So, ladies and gentlemen listening, beware. It has to be like a symphony. I like that because it's true. You can't have the horns and the strings and the drums all out of beat. It's going to sound it. All right.
Oh, yeah.
And you need to be like a well-oiled machine. Yes, we're going to take a quick break and a slight intermission. I'd like to take a moment to tell you about our Conversion Cascade online course. With this self-guided and powerful course, you and your team will be able to master acquiring and retaining more patients. As a step-by-step sales funnel training, this course is designed to help you and your team attract more patients, convert calls to consults, convert consults to treatments and procedures, and keep patients coming back for more. Not only will our Conversion Cascade online course help to strengthen and develop your team's phone sales and customer service skills, it will also serve as a valuable onboarding training tool for each and every new team member. Plus, in the course, you'll receive downloadable marketing checklists, phone scripts, conversion tracking tools, and more. So why not sign up for the course today? It only takes less than 4 hours to complete, and you can finish at your own pace, and you'll have lifetime access. And as a special thank you for being our podcast listener, we're giving you 20% off. Just enter the discount code PODCAST to start saving today. Click the link in our show notes to sign up for the Conversion Cascade online course. Acquire and retain more patients right now. So, tip number 3, how can regular check-ins and progress updates boost your task completion rates? Now look, task completion rates is not a contest. It's an internal contest because you don't want your completion rates to be 25, 50%. Remember in the very beginning of this podcast, I mentioned that I would be speaking about A and B priorities. There are C priorities. But here, about regular check-ins and progress updates to boost our task completion rates, A priorities need to be done right away. In French, it's tout de suite. In Spanish, it's ahora. All right, they've got to be done right now. They're the A's. Now, when the A's don't get done, they fall to the B's. All right, the B's are the ones that will get done, and hopefully, you have that pile on your desk. Those B's can move to A's because it's on time deadline, so they have to be done. The A's are ones that are always patient-centric. They must be done, all right? Safety issues and concerns and patient dissatisfaction. Then there's that C pile. So what's that C pile, Jay? You know that pile that's been on your desk for the last 3 months, 6 months, a year, and you keep looking at it, and all you do is you shuffle the paper around a little bit. Take your hand and put a trash can next to it and sweep it off of your desk. It's never going to get done. All right? So if a B goes to a C, you're in trouble. A B should only go to an A, never to a C. All right? So you have your A and B priorities. So how can the regular check-ins, Denny, update and boost your task completion rates?
Yeah, that was a really good tip, Jay. With C priorities, I've been experiencing that lately. But yeah, you do want to do regular check-ins and progress updates. That's just going to allow you want to check in with your team. If you're assigning things to them, things need to get done, check in with them, see if there are any struggles that they're having with time, with completing the task. Maybe they don't know how to do it properly. That allows you to get feedback on how things are going and if there's any way you can jump in to assist. You can also prioritize and modify expectations to what can feasibly be done by your team at this time. And that's when maybe you really want to do certain things, but you need to hire another team member to get those things done. Maybe you can't do those things as soon as you'd like to get them done. And that can probably happen a lot with marketing, for example. But that can signal to you that you need to hire more staff again. It can also let you know when you're checking in with your team and you're checking on those progress updates. It's just going to encourage collaboration and communication. That's just a great thing to have within your team. Just letting them know that you're there for them, you're here to help them, you want to know how they're doing. And that's just going to create a good feedback loop, and you can make adjustments as necessary. It's just going to be a very positive thing overall to do those check-ins.
So let me share kind of like what we do with our team. Now, Denny, you're responsible for our entire CRM. You're responsible for the entire job board of all the clients, of what has to get done, who is responsible for doing it, and when does it need to be completed. And we have a weekly email that goes out to each one of our team members that for each person that is assigned, or group of people that are assigned, what are your deadlines, what's coming up, and what is past due. Now, I hate getting those past dues because other things stood in the way. In other words, a B priority may have become an A priority, and now that other one that's overdue is now fallen to the C priority until I have to go in and complete it. But, you're responsible for doing those and you're responsible for that task. What if a practice doesn't have that person that can do it? What do you do? How do you create it? Because we have a collaboration. We have weekly or bi-weekly team meetings where we go over all of our clients' needs and where we are with it. And it could be done internally, for example, because really you have your internal client, and your internal client are your team. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, when you're saying who's responsible, shouldn't you have this collaboration and communication between ourselves and between themselves to say, hey, where are we with this?
Yes, I would definitely say your practice manager would be a great person on this team to help assist with that and check in with how are things going, and kind of be like the accountability piece, the reminder piece of what's needed on the team. And again, when you're starting out and you're opening up your practice, that might be you for some time. But it's going to be helpful if you could delegate this responsibility to someone that's like a manager or an admin position, and they can be the one that's following up, checking in, kind of being, the one that's keeping the team accountable to things and reminding them about things that need to get done.
Yeah, so that leads me into our tip number 4 that I spoke. What role does team motivation and engagement play in this task completion?
Yeah, and it all goes back again to some things that we've talked about previously. You want to have a happy work environment. If people are burnt out, if things are clunky, it's going to be stressful. You're going to be upset that things aren't getting done. They're going to be upset. Patients are upset. It's just, being able to improve this area of task completion in your practice. It's worth investing time and thinking through even after this episode, because it's going to really improve team morale, team culture, especially if you're having good conversations with your team and actually listening to why things aren't getting done, because they could provide you a lot of feedback. And something I like to say is that think the best of your team, think that they actually want to work hard and do good. And if things are not getting done, that just provides a great opportunity to listen to why and ask them and work through that together. And it's going to improve honest feedback, and it's going to also help you reduce your turnover rates, and it's going to improve the employee satisfaction because you're improving the operational efficiency of your practice. Things are getting better. It's becoming a better place to work. It's just going to be a really great thing overall for your team.
Great. So, on tip number 5, what are the most common mistakes to avoid when you implement a project management tool in your aesthetic practice? Because there's so much to do. So, the best way to avoid any type of a mistake is to implement the protocol beforehand. So, what are the common mistakes to avoid?
Yeah, I like that. Implement the protocol. So, common mistakes to avoid is underutilizing features or inconsistently using the platform. That can be a big mistake. If you begin to implement a project management tool, the key is to consistently use it. Your team needs to be on board with logging all the to-do items, updating statuses and deadlines, and really referring to this tool for their task list. That's just going to be key. And I always say the key to consistency is to be consistent. Just keep using it. Even when you're tempted to pull out your pen and paper, just open up the monday.com or whatever platform you're doing and log it in there and just continue to use it and make it a habit within your team. Also, some common mistakes are just lack of specific goals and objectives and letting your team know what is it that you want them to accomplish and being clear about those goals and objectives. And also, if you're not customizing it to fit your needs, that can be a common mistake. Every practice is unique and different, and we can offer a lot of tips on this episode, but your practice is very unique. And so you want to make sure that whatever project management tool or system or process you're implementing for the task completion is customized to your practice. And lastly, don't fail to track performance and make adjustments again. Don't fail to check in and see if these things are getting done and make sure that you're making those adjustments, because again, if these adjustments aren't being made, it's going to really affect the success of your practice internally amongst your team, but it's also going to affect your patient care too.
So, Denny, I want to put you on the spot. All right. Now, here we go. I personally, and I'm never, afraid to admit my faults. I personally could not wrap my arms around monday.com. I used a different time tracking software. Now, monday.com is a time tracking software, which I have really come to love. All right. However, it took over a year for me to embrace monday.com. I kept wanting to get rid of it. So, Denny, how do you overcome? You mentioned the key to consistency is being consistent. How did you overcome an old geezer like me who wanted to use a different platform, but the hierarchy in our food chain is you have to be very careful about not upsetting the apple cart with your team leader. However, you won. And now I embrace monday.com to the max. So, how do you do that with somebody that doesn't want to embrace it, especially when that person is a leader or at the top?
Yeah. Well, you want to be patient, and maybe they're not embracing it because they need help to understand how to use it. So that's where training is going to be very important with anything, even with your EMR or any system you're using. You want to make sure your team is trained, feels comfortable utilizing it. It's okay if you have multiple conversations to walk them through how to do something, and just continue to point out how it is helping the practice and just keep it going on a positive note. And yeah, let them know like, hey, this is helping the practice. We've been implementing this. Look at how it's been helpful so far. And can I help you? And continue to have those conversations.
Yeah. Denny, I think you hit it right on the head. With somebody like me, what you really had to do, and I say this, my team knows I'm an old Sergeant Friday dragnet kind of guy. Just the facts, ma'am. Just the facts. I respect your opinion, but I really will roll with the facts. And my team has gotten to know, don't come to Jay and present anything to me unless you have your facts in order. Now, the one thing that Denny mentioned is, I didn't embrace the CRM for multiple reasons. Number one, because it was replacing one that I had already had, that I had been using prior to us bringing this on. However, the new one that Denny brought on, Monday.com, also included, it's like an EMR. All right. It does newsletters, or it does this, or it does time tracking or inventory, whatever. Instead of using multiple modules in the past, she brought in one module that included multiple modules. So how did it convince me? Showing me all the features that it had, and yet showed me all the automations that it would do. And Denny was like an infomercial. And that's not all. If you embrace this now, let me show you another feature and another feature and another. And man, I wouldn't do without it, because I look back at the old primitive way I was doing things. And I said, I can't believe that this is how I wanted to run my business. It worked. It would just never drive me to the next level. And that's what business is about, getting to the next level. Because when you do what you've always done, you're going to get what you've always gotten. And that's not good, whether it's operational, administrative, financial, marketing, and your CRM and your project management tool will be able to show you how to do it all. Closing words, Denny.
Closing words would be, you got this. I think that's a good encouragement, because if you're listening to this, you're struggling with task completion, but there is a solution. And again, it's going to go with taking a look at what's going wrong with your staff, listening to them about what's going wrong, and implementing something new. Like Jay said, if you keep doing what you've always done, you're going to keep getting what you've always gotten. Do you need to hire more staff? We highly recommend implementing a tool to help you with your task completion and getting that feedback from your team.
You know, I heard a line recently that I was listening, and it ties in perfectly to CRMs. And I'll share with you how Denny did this. My whole thing is I wanted to continue to use the system that I had. And it's like, hey, Denny, don't rock the boat. All right? Because I'm happy with what I have. Well, the saying that I just heard recently is don't rock the boat unless you have a plan to get us back to the shore. All right? Because you're going to tip over and fail. However, Denny had a plan. Because if I kept doing what we did, we were going to continue to get what we've always gotten. And that was we were getting nowhere. And Denny showed us with this CRM system how we could get back on track. So that, ladies and gentlemen, concludes our podcast. And it's been a pleasure working with you all to speak about what are the key factors in your customer relations management and the top tips to improve your team's completion. Until episode number 111, I'd like to wish all of you good luck and God bless. So that wraps up today's episode of Shorr Solutions, the podcast. If we mentioned any website links, you can find them in our show notes. To work directly with me and our award-winning team of consultants to increase efficiency, increase revenue, and decrease costs in your aesthetic practice, schedule a free consult with us today. We will help you establish and refine your aesthetic practice's protocols for maximum efficiency and productivity, decrease your expenses, and increase your profitability with an expert financial analysis of your business, attract more patients, convert calls to consults, convert consults to treatments, and keep patients coming back for more with our sales training, coaching, and complimentary access to our Conversion Cascade online course. Recruit, hire, and train new team members and manage any staff turnover with our human resource expertise, plus more. Head over to our show notes and click on the link to schedule a free 30-minute consult with us today. And if you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to spread the word and share this episode with your friends, colleagues, and the rest of your team. Remember to also follow us on social media at Shorr Solutions and sign up for our e-newsletter. You'll learn about our latest tips, blog posts, services, videos, webinars, and more. Links to our social media channels and to sign up for our e-newsletter are in our show notes. So see you next time, and remember to leave us a review and subscribe for more valuable content.